Hello my friends and welcome to another pick a card reading. This is a very special reading, a collaboration with the wonderful Gian from Black Dragon Tarot, and we are exploring the shamanic realms through our readings all over October, and I'm just really excited to be doing this collaboration because he approached me. And yeah, I just think that we're just going to come out with some really beautiful messages. So the first installment of this collaboration is to do with the lower world, where I will be exploring what are your lower world human guides, because in the lower world we can also have human guides, and Gian will be going over who are your power animals within the lower world. Do check out the description box below and there will be a link to his reading, so do check that out. Also, if some of you are a little bit, you want a little bit more background knowledge about the lower world, I have also put a link to my video which describes the lower world and gives you an introduction to the lower world in the shamanic realms, and also, helps you to journey down to there. So if you fancy that, that will give you a little bit of a background. But here we're going to look at who are your lower world human guides. Now the lower world is essentially the place of the soul. It kind of resides in a space which is just below, or like further below, but underneath the subconscious and the unconscious self. It almost attribute is below the collective unconscious self. So we are looking at the collective unconscious of all of these things, of all of the animals, all of the birds, the plants, everything that comes from nature and really is connected to your deep primal sense of self and soul. That is essentially what the lower world is. The lower world doesn't include anything that is to do with anything man-made, so it won't have any cars or phones or anything like that. That's a different world, which we will be covering with this series. So here we'll be looking at the lower world. Now, in the lower world, you can have all sorts of guides, and they can be either animals, or they can be trees, they can be rocks, they can be plants, they can also be humans, which is really interesting. Now, usually when I see a lower world human guide, or the way I teach or have been taught through my shamanic practice with lower world guides, is that they are usually attributed to some kind of tribe that was associated with hunter-gatherer times within the human collective, within the human timeline. So these guides will be kind of akin to, maybe some kind of tribe or something like that. And I would highly recommend you journeying and doing the video so that you can kind of gain some knowledge and wisdom about the lower world before you do this. But it doesn't really matter. Maybe you might watch this reading and think, I might want to explore the lower world. So see how it goes. It's meant to come to you in whatever way it's supposed to at the time. The timing is always right. But yeah, here we will be connecting with your lower world human guides, and we may not actually know exactly what they are and who they are, but we will get some messages from them and see what they have to say to you, and maybe that might give you an impetus to go deeper and actually contact them, get in touch with them. Because what's really apparent with shamanic work is that we do have a menagerie of animals that are helping us, guides, and we do have all sorts of spirit guides that are helping us on the different planes of the shamanic realms and of existence. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. I hope that explains that a little bit. But otherwise, here are the pile choices. You've got pile 1, which is this beautiful black tourmaline. Pile 2, which is this gorgeous brain coral. And pile 3, which is this beautiful pine cone rose. That's my name for it. I mean, it could be something else, but that's what I'm saying it is. Anyway, those are your pile choices, my loves. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Timestamps will be in the description box below. And I'll see you at your reading. I hope you enjoy it. Bye. Pile 1, hello and welcome to your reading. Sorry about the little shake there. I always seem to I've got things quite precariously balanced, so they tend to shimmer and shake. But anyway, the lower world, your human guides in the lower world. Now this is really interesting because, I think, we're going to be delving into something that kind of gives you a real sense of protection. It's going to help you realize that maybe you have been more protected than you realized. I think, there's that sense of feeling that you've been, I'm just adjusting my mic, so I'm sorry. That you have been more protected than you realized. And this has been a stable energy that has grown over time, developed over time. And it has been something that has maybe been with your family for generations, because this piece of rock here that we have has taken thousands of years to form and to grow, particularly to this size. And you've also got a little bit of quartz here as well. So there's this sense of clarity and helping yourself to kind of get through things. So when you felt alone, or you felt that you've needed extra protection, this energy has been around you to be able to help you, it feels like. So let's have a look at your first card. Wow, the colours of the winds. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Pocahontas, that does come from that. It's number 18, which is synonymous with the number of the moon. But let's have a look at what this means in the book, because I don't know exactly. So here, the subtle power of air brings messages from far off places. So the colours of the wind, quite simply, when she's talking about it. And I mean, Pocahontas is quite shamanic anyway, even though Disney do bastardize it a bit. But, they do have they kind of have the basic principles. They just romanticize it heavily. And Soul is a really good film to watch. And in the latest films with Pixar are amazing in terms of understanding human psychology. It's really quite scary. But anyway, coming back to this kind of colours of the wind, it is untamed and wild, this kind of input from air that is coming from every direction. But you are encouraged to follow these routes. Now, let me just see. So these are the 4 chief winds of north, south, east, and west, which are coloured black, white, purple, and pale, respectively. Now, this is in reference to Celtic shamanism, so it isn't. So just take this as you will. It's different for different shamanic traditions and native traditions. But the idea is that you have, this has been a collection of different energies that have culminated into this sense of protective energy. So, you may have some kind of, you may have guides from various different tribes, or someone who has been within different tribes. They're not native to one tribe. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, my own personal lower world human guide, I don't know where they're from. All I know is that they're this figure that comes in and is a human, and that's often what happens. Let me just have a look. It's interesting because the book doesn't really say anything too much about this, but what I'm getting from it, which is more important as we know, is that the wisdom of all directions is coming to you. So this human guide, it is, it's coming from all different directions. it's bringing wisdom from all different directions in order to culminate into a protective energy for you. Maybe it was like some kind of traveler or something that traveled between the worlds, or maybe not even the worlds. Maybe it was a traveler between tribes, more like, because it feels to be like somebody who was traveling, somebody who managed to understand, you know, they could have been a shaman themselves. So let's have a look at what the cards want to say about this. So who are the lower world guides, human guides for my pile ones? Who are the lower world human guides for my pile ones? Who are the lower world human guides for my pile ones? Who are the lower world human guides for pile one? Okay. Who are the lower world human guides for pile one? How many do we have? That's too many. Okay, I have to stop because it's actually telling me that it doesn't want me to use these cards yet. It wants me to use these ones. Okay. I have a few shamanic decks, but these are my two like hardcore shamanic decks. Very lower world-esque, I think, these decks. Very beautiful cards. They do have like middle world influences, but I do feel that the El Goliath is probably one of my most shamanic decks. And he even says it's like a shamanic manifesto. So, yeah, look, they just want to talk now. Yep, okay, right. So, wow, look at that. The Wheel of Fortune. And, I mean, you can't make it up, really, can you? The Wheel of Fortune. So, there's a sense of destiny that you were meant to receive this guide. And this has come from a sense of clarity. There was almost like, you know, there was no choice but to actually have this guide as someone who was helping you. It was really important for them to be helping you. And remember, this is a general reading. So obviously I'm just talking about the general type of guide that you've got, okay? If you want to find out who your lower world human guide is, you're going to have to journey. Okay, so we've got the Five of Pentacles reversed, which is the Hardship Mountain. Just show you that card. It is insane, this deck. I love it so much. It gives me chills every time I use it. Oh, wow. Look, Six of Cups reversed. So that's the reuniting watering hole. Love that. But it is reversed. Sorry. And then we have this one. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. I love this card. This is one of the extra cards. This is why it wanted me to use this deck. The Hidden Inner Strength, the Shadow Cat. So, this entity, this spirit guide, human lower world spirit guide, has come to you as a result of deep hardship, and they have come forth to you in the times, you know, I'm getting reminded of the Footprints poem, which was so popular back in the 80s, about how like Jesus was talking to a man, and then the man got confused, like he was walking along a beach, and then he could only see, like, sometimes he saw one set of footprints and the other time he saw two sets of footprints, and when he saw one, they were at the hardest times of his life. And then like the man asked, oh, why did you forsake me in those times? And then Jesus said, those were the times that I carried you. And this is what it feels like is happening. Like, this is when your guides carried you. They helped you through that time. It does feel like there is like some real kind of sense of hardship that has come from this, and it's they have come to you because that's when you've needed them the most. And they've come to remind you about your inner strength. And they may seem very small. Like, I think it would be really useful to notice any animals or cats particularly that come to you that may seem that they're just kind of like not really, they're just unassuming, but just pay attention, because I think that there's some kind of message there for you. But they have come to remind you that things are not hard all the time, even though you have come from a place which is, you know, essentially quite painful, quite deep, needing some kind of comfort. And what's really interesting is the colors of the wind, and this is all black and white. So it's almost to give you color back into the life where you felt that you didn't have color, where you didn't have life. So this is kind of like the message from the spirit guide. It's saying to you that that's what it wanted to do for you, or it wants to remind you that this is what it's doing for you. Okay, so the Wheel of Fortune, and this is like very lucky, like it's exceptionally fortuitous the way it's done it. It feels to me like it's a really rare kind of opportunity here, that it's come to you, and the way it's come to you, and also the level of what it's come to. Because, you know, for example, like there won't ever be a piece of crystal that will ever be like this. Like it will be similar, but never it will be like where it broke, how it grew. You know, this is just a very special piece of crystal, because there's never going to be anything else like it. So it's that kind of thing where this is a very individual process, a very individual gift of a guide that's been given to you. Interesting, we've got the Seven of Cups twice. So I think what this guide does is help you to kind of really look at the reality of situations. It's interesting because this guide is obviously, you know, on a different plane. You can't see it with physical eyes, but it really does help you to discern what's right for you and what's the truth of situations. Especially when someone is offering you, or you are being offered some kind of like promise, when you're being offered some, like it just stops you from making the wrong decision about things. The Seven of Cups is clarified by the Four of Swords. This says to me, again, look at that. Can you see that sun that's there with the colors? That's really interesting. So it gives you the opportunity to become enlightened almost in your approach to things. So it's almost like you are asleep when you are awake when others are asleep. And in shamanic work, we say that, you know, shamans, they never sleep. We don't sleep. In fact, when we sleep, that's when we're the most vulnerable, because actually we're traveling the astral planes, and we're not really, or the shamanic planes, or other states of other planes, other realms of consciousness, but we're not as guarded because we're not conscious, which is why lucid dreaming is a really important tool to like work through. And if you do practice that, and you can do it, it's amazing, because it enables you to be protected. But this is what your guide is doing. Your guide is allowing you to be illuminated in times where others may be asleep. The Ace of Swords. I don't know, you may have come from a space where you weren't allowed to communicate things. You weren't allowed to talk about things. And also, you know, when you are not allowed to speak about things, when you find that you do not have the ability to be able to communicate clearly, particularly when you know that something is desperately wrong and actually kind of out of order in terms of like there's a real sense of injustice, that's when you decide that you are, or that's when your guide comes into play and decides to implement their action. Okay? Dear Spirit, I only need two. Please. Just two. Thank you. No, it gave me one. Okay, it gave me three actually. Okay, so we've got the 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles here. Wonderful. So what I'm getting here is that this energy, this guide helps you to manifest your own sense of abundance, even though you know, you may have come from a space where there was no abundance. What I'm getting here is this, you know, this is surrounded by feathers. Can you see that? And then here we have this like this kind of encapsulated space within feathers of these 9 pentacles. So there's something very precious, something guarded, something protected. I wouldn't be surprised, because of all of the feathers that I see, that this might be a long lost ancestor that is protecting you. It would be very, very far back if it was that, because you know, it's lower world. But I don't know, usually like lower world doesn't usually kind of correspond with ancestry. That's usually for the middle world, but there is something about connection, like guardian spirits, and white feathers usually are to do with ancestry. So there's something about that. Maybe the result of what happened in the past kind of has reverberated to call out this particular guide to help you, so that they have that specific knowledge about your situation. And the hidden inner strength, the shadow cat, is clarified by the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Now, it's quite interesting. I don't feel like you've had to really like work too intensely in order to have this. I feel like this has been something that's been with you the whole time. It's not been something where you've had to like really work on yourself and develop yourself, and then all of a sudden this guide comes and thinks, oh yeah, like I actually think that pile 1 is worth my guidance. No, it's been with you the whole time. You know, and I do think it's been with you while you've been young, particularly with the 6 of Cups and the 7 of Cups and the 4 of Swords, and this 4 of Swords, because we have this little lamb. So what we're looking at here is a guide that helps you to bring colour back into your life. So it helps you to kind of reconnect with that joie de vivre. I'm sorry I mispronounced that. But that kind of like spark of creative energy, because we don't actually have any wands here. We only have swords, pentacles and cups. So there's no fire. There's just a lot of air and coldness here. So it's almost like it's kind of like trying to reintegrate some impetus for you to like create some fire, which is kind of in the background here with the colors that are here, and also the 2 suns that are here. So there's something of that. There may be some kind of energy from the south that you might need to instigate with that, particularly with that black color there. So I think your lower world human guide is someone that helps you to remain motivated and to remain on the path, even at times where you feel that you haven't had the support that you've needed. You actually have had like a big level of support. So, with that being said, let's have a look at what are the main kind of healing messages from your human guide from the lower world. Now here it is, it's psychic development. It is reversed. Again, we have a sun here. So if you don't meditate, I think it's important to meditate. Now, there are lots of different types of meditation, depending on what you want to do. Something that invokes the inner fire might be really useful, like in pranayama, like yogic breathing. You can do like something called the breath of fire, which actually like instigates that kind of sense of like heating up oneself. Please do some research before you do that, because that breath isn't necessarily, like breath of fire is quite intense, but just have a look at like how heating practices, for example, like the Wim Hof method, Tumo breathing, breath work, meditation, that's also to do with like heating the body up and being able to like invoke that fire within. Maybe look at practices with that will contribute to your love, to your the kind of fire within, because as I said, there's no wands here. But I did also say about love. Now, what's really interesting is that we have a swan here. I don't know if some of you have not been on a date or not dating, or like you feel that you're in a bit of a lull with your love life or your interpersonal relationships, particularly with your like, you know, with a personal love relationships. If you do this kind of work that will help you to stoke that inner fire, you will bring that, because I feel like there's been a bit of a a lull in that side. So just be aware of that. Okay, and I'm just going to pull some crystal energy here. I mean, I know we've got crystal energy with the tourmaline, but let's have a look at this. Okay, interesting. Upper world, angels and spirit guides, angelite. So, we will be doing the upper world next. So do check out that video. It's going to be great. But yeah, that's something also to think about, because when I do my journeying practices, more than often than not, my lower world and my upper world guides, they communicate. They do things together. They don't converse with each other, but they do work together. So yeah, that's something to kind of keep in mind about what can happen within those realms and what they actually mean to you. So let's have a look at some herb energy for you, some plant spirit energy. We've looked at some crystal energy for you, and now let's look at some plant energy. This is such a lovely reading. I can't show all the cards. This is such a lovely reading. I really am enjoying this. I hope you are too. Ay, ay, ay. Why cards? Sorry. You saw me mess that up completely. Sorry. I haven't done tarot in a while, actually, so I'm a bit out of touch with shuffling cards. But it's particular decks, you know. So plant energy is being a little bit troublesome. That's interesting. What do you want to say, plants? What do you want to say? Okay. Damiana, the beloved. Oh, I love that. Damiana. Damiana is a really good tea for dream work and sleeping. We've got Venus and Pluto there. So that's very beautiful. We do have an aspect that's coming up with Pluto at the moment. So do check that out. It's going to be affecting certain signs. But let me just have a quick look at this card for you, which is number 11, which is the Hermit. But it's interesting because 11 is also a master number. But Damiana is such a beautiful herb. It's meaning this idea of like bringing others to you that actually, you know, that actually believe in what you're doing. You know, this whole thing of like relationships, intimacy, sacred play, finding the beloved within. So kind of like what I was saying here, like finding the joy in the life and the colors of the wind, like even that song. I mean, I think I only watched Pocahontas once. It wasn't one of my favorites, so I didn't watch it. It was the Little Mermaid for me all the way. But it does feel like, you know, in order for you to find that inner fire, you do need to connect with this kind of like sense of beloved or love for yourself. It's a rejuvenating plant said to restore sexual vitality, and it's used in a classic love potion. So there's, wow. It's also really good for lung cleansing. People do smoke with it. I have as well. It's really nice and smooth. Also, it basically represents the universal principle of the beloved. So what that means is just respecting like what those both sides mean to you. Like how do you become more loving towards yourself? And that, you know, kind of, how do you invoke the fire within oneself to that sexual spark? Like that whole idea of wands, which is totally absent from your reading, is about the sexual spark, is about that spark, is about fire. The wand, the Ace of Wands is usually akin to a upright willy. So, you know, so like basically, you know, we don't have anything here. So there's a real lack of that. You know, it's the Svadhisthana chakra. That's how all creation, that's where the seat of creation is. So that's what this is about. It's about invoking that. Yeah. So there's something about that, healthy boundaries and being honest and clear with oneself about how it is that you would want to connect more deeply in a way that would allow you to be more, you know, invoke this fire within you. Okay, so let's have a look at some more cards. Didn't realise that there were so many. It feels like a lot, but it's not really a lot. I think it's because I've done it. Wow. Okay, we've got 2 here. We've got Middle World and the Owl. I will take both because Spirit is telling me to take both. So that's the Middle World. So this is interesting, right? Because it's got a picture of the tree. So the Middle World actually would be represented by the trunk. This is the upper world and this is the lower world. The lower world are the roots. The middle world is the trunk. The upper world is the branches. And then we also have Owl. So what I get from those, and because they're reversed, it kind of says to me that there is like a slight kind of disconnect that's going on here. Maybe, I would honestly say, right, maybe you have some kind of idea of what the lower world is. So I think it's really important for you to find out what it is and what it isn't. What it is like the idea of our soul. What it isn't is like the connotations that have been attributed to it by Christianity, which is that it's like hell, which is absolutely not what it is. It's the connection with soul, it's the connection with self. So what I'm getting here is that your lower world human guide wants to put across to you that in order to connect with that deep sense of self, it's not only to recognize the plants and the animals of this space, but you also need to recognize the human side of this space and how that kind of encourages you to move forward, how that helps you to grow more as a person and to accept. I feel like there's a little bit of denial that this could actually be something that's useful to you. So to recognize this, because why not? It's like you not cashing in a check that you get every month, or like that extra bit of help that you could get and you're not taking it up and you were entitled to it this whole time. So do it. There is a little bit of entrapment within the middle world, I will say. And Owl Spirit is kind of saying to me about, helping you to navigate that space in a way that will actually be more conducive, rather than listening to other kind of like maybe gods or other kind of entities or spirits. And I won't go into it too much, right? But I will just give you a little thing, right? In the middle world, just think of it as, and I will discuss this more in the reading that I do, but in the middle world, it's so basically the upper world and the lower world are just on your team. They're just for you, right? All of the spirit guides, whatever they are, animal, spirit, plant, rock, whatever they are on your team. In the middle world, they're not. So anything that represents a middle world entity, you have to question it just as much as you would do a cowboy, plumber, or like somebody that you find on the internet that you think you connect with, you think it's amazing, but you've really got to look at their motives, because everything has some kind of motive. Even when we look down to the kind of, the molecular level of protons and neutrons, these are particles that are reacting with a charge because they have this charge, so that's their thing, that's their purpose. It's the same thing with like energies. They're not thinking, oh, we just want to serve you. It's not in the middle world. In the upper world and the lower world, yes, because they are you. They are part of you, and they're also beyond you as well. They are benevolent, whereas the middle world tends to be a mixture of malevolent and benevolent. So you just need to keep your wits about you in that respect. But it's also, do not try to correct in the earth what needs to be corrected in the heavens. That's what that says. So, don't think that if you're connecting with some middle world guide, and how you will know that is if they are of any kind of middle world energy. So basically, if they have anything that resembles the middle world. So for example, if you see your guide and you see them with a watch on, even though they've got like skins and whatever, they may be of the middle world. So you need to clarify that, and you need to ask them about it. And you do when you go into journeys. So in a wider context, for those of you that haven't done journeying, what I would say is that the middle world is just be aware that there may be middle world influences creeping into this. So if it is like that you are thinking of Pocahontas, maybe think of like the message that is behind that and how that connects with like to the deep sense of your soul and something more organic rather than something that you just saw on from a Disney film, and how that like connects to your higher spirit, because we're not looking at that yet. It does come into play. And I think that that's good to have that like in the background, because you do have it here. But I don't, and I think that they do play a part as well. But I think that it's more important to, and this is why in my training or in my kind of like guidance, when you're working with the shamanic realms, it's really important to understand what the difference is between the middle, lower and upper worlds. Because if you get them mixed, then stuff can happen. So you just need to be really clear about that. And because the middle world has come up here already in our first reading, I think it's just important to get really clear on that. And that will help you, You don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever you like. But like I'm just saying that if you want to get the most out of it, make sure you're clear. Okay, so we've got the second card, which is the owl, which is just here. Right, so the medicine is owl guards against self-deception and insists that your motives be pure and transparent to all. I mean, it's funny that those two came up together, because this says to me that there is something that may be masking itself to you. So you need to be really clear about what is speaking to you. So get clear about that. How you get clear about that is about how you meditate. And it's susceptible. You're susceptible to that because this energy of heat, it can be corrupted. So just be aware of that. That's why you've got tourmaline there. Just wait patiently. If you have trouble discerning what it is that this energy is, just wait for a moment. Wait and see. And, people and entities and spirits reveal themselves over time. They do. Don't think that you're going to have to wait years. Just wait and see. And really get in touch with your internal guidance system to tell you the messages that you need, So, okay, so before, this is our penultimate card, which will give us an opportunity to connect with Gian's reading, which is the finding your power animal, which is going to be really exciting for you. So let's have a look at what power animals might appear to you. We've already got owl here, so we've got one energy that might come to you. We've got swan as well. We've got lamb. We don't have snake completely, but snake is here, so you have quite a lot. We do also have hippo. We have octopus, and we also have birds, because we have the things, and we do have horse here as well, and crows. So you've got quite a lot of animal spirits that are guiding you here. But let's have a look a little bit more, which ones you need to pay maybe a little bit more attention to like connect us to the reading with Gian. Do go and check out his reading, okay, after this. Or if you've come from Gian's reading, hi. I should have said that at the beginning of the reading. Okay, the power animal doesn't want to come out. Might have to choose a card, because these ones are a little bit, I don't know, it's just not coming out. Okay, dear spirit, can I please have some animal energy to connect us back? No, I just need one. Just one card, please, dear spirit. One card. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, right, so. Wow, hippo! Oh my god, hippos. Hippos. And it says the master of emotions. 6 of Cups. Right, okay, so. Oh my god, I just got that song from, I don't know if you'll remember it. Some of you might be too young to remember this, but I don't know, the age range of my viewers seem to be similar to me. But I don't know if you know this band. It's a band called Skunk Anansi, which actually is a very shamanic name. And they did this song, just because it feels good doesn't make it right. Okay, and that's what came to my mind. And then we've got this cup here, And then we've also got the Master of Emotions. So this is about you not allowing the kind of things from the past to influence your emotions in such a way that it causes you to kind of trust things that you might not have done. You know, I mean, we're all guilty of that, you know, us doing things in certain ways or behaving in certain ways that ends up not being very good for us, but you know, due to the emotional state that we're in. But just, as I said, like, just take your time, because there's something that you need to cultivate here so that you can kind of connect with this lower world human guide to help you through this space. So yeah, but do head over to Gian's reading so that we can see what animal guide is there for you, or animal guides. You may have more than likely have more than one. Usually you have like one power animal, but for you to find your power animal, like, we can only guide you. You'd have to journey more deeply in order to find out what it is. Okay, so this is a last card just to close out your reading. This is some Druid wisdom from the earth. Last message from the lower world. Jesus Christ. Can you just like give me one, please? No. It says one. What are you talking about, one, Reena? Thank you. But okay, so wow, the Stone of Oban. Do not forget the importance of the company you keep. Friendship is a warm fire to stoke. It's comfort we reap. Carry ocean jasper to ease anxiety and lift your spirit. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. And it's called the Stone of Oban. Maybe look that up. And as I looked at my clock, it said 41:41. Okay, my darlings, this reading has gone on long enough. But do go and check out Gian's reading, because this is going to be such a powerhouse for you to help you remember your guides, connect with your guides. I'm really excited. Do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you feel to. I'd be so curious to hear what you thought of this reading and how it resonated, if it did. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, whenever you're choosing to watch this. Do tune in next week and keep your eyes peeled for the next installment, which is the upper world reading that I'll be doing. But otherwise, I'll see you soon. And remember that honesty is always key. Bye. Pile 2, hello and welcome to your reading. So you chose this gorgeous piece of brain coral. This was a piece of coral that I got from when I was on my travels in Mauritius, which is where I'm from. But it isn't actually from Mauritius. It's from an island that's about 2 hours away from Mauritius called Rodrigues. You can only get there by plane, 2 hours from the mainland of Mauritius. And it is about the side, and it takes an hour to go from one side to the other. And I remember I found loads of these pieces of coral on the beach. This was back in 2014. So this was a long time ago when I was actually allowed to pick up the coral. So I just took 2 pieces of this beautiful coral, and yeah, it's very precious to me. So there's just something in terms of being able to have a sense of resilience and through changing times, which I'm sensing, and also there's a sense of value increasing as time goes on. There is also this kind of like wounded healer aspect that I'm feeling here, because you've got like sand that was in there that I wasn't able to get out, and it's still there. So this is sand actually from the place that's got in there. So yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of different elements that need to be considered. There is also something that needs to be kind of uprooted. So that's what I'm sensing here in terms of your lower world human guides. If you've come from Gian's reading, welcome. I should have said that before. But if you haven't gone to Gian's reading first, please do go and check out his reading, because it will complement this one beautifully. I think they both work really well together. You'll get the most out of the readings if you do them together. So yeah, do check out his video. But hello, for those of you who've come from Gian. The brain coral is also it comes from a tropical place. So there's something about, being able to manage the heat in a way, and being withstanding of the heat, thriving in that space. Okay, wow. So we've got Lord of the Sea. How interesting. How interesting. So these cards are from Celtic mythology. So I will just read for you what it has here. Like, have a little look at what this number, what this means. But with the sea, like, it's number 10. So there is a sense of completion here. 37. A larger-than-life face crowned with seaweed looks out from a great maelstrom of watery energy. It is somehow part of the water, yet more than that, which is kind of what I was like just speaking about just before I turned over the card. And it's that whole idea of like being integral to the whole ecosystem of the sea. Our species came from the sea and still feels a powerful attraction to its power. Let's have a look. So this particular one is called Manawidan, which I'm sure I have totally mispronounced. But there is a sense of passion. So it's really interesting, actually, because pile 1, they needed to invoke this passion and there was none of it. Whereas here we have nothing but focusing on passion. So there's something about you being able to consolidate that passion into something tangible. And your guide is here to help you do that. The idea of coral is like small bits coalescing to create these beautiful shapes and these beautiful specimens and living beings that guide and manage the ecosystem of the sea. So with that in mind, let's have a look at what the tarot wants to say about this. Your lower world human guide. Now the information, I'll be able to give you information for your lower world human guide, pile 2. But for you to actually find your lower world human guide, you will need to go and do your journey to find your lower world human guide. So if that is something that interests you, do check out the video below where I do help you to find your lower world human guide within the shamanic realms. It does take, or at least give you an introduction to the lower world, because that does really help in terms of understanding. It's not necessary, but if you are curious and you want to go deeper with this work, then that might be a good place to start. So these will be messages mainly from what your lower world human guide, who your lower world, or where your lower world human guide has come from, how they have come to be with you, and what messages that they want to impart to you. And yeah, so that's primarily what I'll be looking at. Thank you for giving me 5 cards. Okay. There's something about like really being still and looking deeper here, like encouraging things to settle before you go into the depths. Like that whole thing of like when you walk through sand, even though it's through really clear water, it doesn't really show up. But once you remain still and allow the sand to settle, then it becomes clear. Wow, so we've got the 5 of Swords reversed. So this guide has tried to contact you many times and has tried to get in tried to support you in however way it can, and it will not leave your side. Like, there is a sense that no matter what, it's still going to be there for you, even if you don't believe that it's there for you, even if you don't believe that there's this passion and this guidance and this motivation to actually take things forward, to kind of be obsessed in a positive way about your love, your connection, your desires, your goals, your dreams. This is something that will be consistently with you. I do also get, like, first of all, that like you might not have really listened to it, like you might have ignored it. Wow, the devil. This is quite a intense devil card, so just FYI. But this reading is not for under 18s anyway, so it's fine. So this devil is like you're refusing to be a slave to your emotions, and your guide it recognizes this. It recognizes it fully, and that is amazing. Like it thrives because you are doing that. And every time you do not become a slave to your emotions is when you connect with this lower world human guide, and when it comes to help you at those, like, the most. Wow, they all come up reversed. It's so interesting. The Knight of Wands, the kind-hearted moose, but it is reversed again. It's coming to you slowly. It's like this is the slow burn. This is the slow burn. This is the friend, right? This is the friend that isn't your party. This is your ride or die in a way. Not even your ride or die. No. It's not as clear cut as that. It's like that friend that you may not pay much attention to, but you can count on them no matter what. They will be there, and they will be steadfast, like the rock that like stands within the sea. Now, just to let you know, what's really interesting is the hotel where I was staying at, and I got this piece of rock. I've looked on Google Maps recently, and I've seen that the piece of rock, like the pinnacle of like the beach of where I was, it's grown less and less. Like it used to be a point on Google Maps, and now it's just like kind of cut off. So erosion is really a thing. So what this says to me is that, consistent ignoring, and this happens with guides. Like if you do not pay attention to what they have to say, they will go. They will go. Now, this one's pretty persistent. It's saying that it won't leave you, but it is getting worn down. So even if it won't leave you, if you choose not to take care of it, or like to acknowledge it, to acknowledge what it's done for you, like in terms of, like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, you've got to like, say hello to it all the time, but connecting with it and just remembering that it's there protecting you would be really useful. That would help it to not disintegrate into nothing, because, where we place our attention, where attention goes, energy flows, right? So there's an element of that. Wow, you got this card in exactly the same place as pile 1. Exactly the same. 6 of Cups, the reuniting waterhole. This is such a cute card, but it is the 6 of Cups reversed. So again, like pile 1, I have the same message. At times where you think that you have been alone and you have not felt that you have had the support that you needed, this is when this energy has come to you very strongly, very strongly. And it hasn't come to you in a hard and fast way. It's really come to you in a kind of like slow, considered way. Not even slow. It's come to you when it's needed to, but it's almost like it's just hovering in the background, like not really, like you wouldn't notice it. It wouldn't be the most outspoken, Wow, the 7 of Swords, the Thief and the Knight. These cards are intense. Right, okay, so you may have thought that you were alone. And there may also be a sense of you thinking that this was something when it wasn't. You might have mistaken it for something else. You might have believed it was something else. You might have felt it was something else. You might have felt that the passion for one thing actually wasn't as, So basically you might have followed like it was a passion for something and it didn't kind of sustain. So there's some kind of like mind trickery that's been going on here. It also, like, again, like for you to listen and connect with these guides, right, you have to be in a space where you're able to receive. Okay, if you are not in a space to receive, you're not going to hear the message. You know, just like a radio frequency, if you're not in tune with that frequency, you're not going to receive it. So you have to make sure that you are a clear channel so that you can receive these frequencies. I'm not talking about you being a free-for-all for whatever wants to come in and say hi. I'm talking about you being able to, like, you know it by your internal guidance system, by what feels good and what doesn't feel good. That's the first step in terms of like being able to connect with these energies. So let's have a little look. Let's go a little bit deeper into this, because I think what I can see here is that it gets confused with other things. What you think it is, it might not be, which is why this card came up. And I would say it would help you to like discern, but right now I don't think you're in touch with it as much as you want to. It's trying to get through to you. It's trying. It's really trying. There is an element of it that gets in touch with you, but there's still like a sense of denial that goes on. Okay, Knight of Wands reversed. Could you please clarify that for me? Okay, we've got the Mother of Pentacles reversed. And the Devil. Wow, the Lover's reversed. Okay. These reversals. The Eight of Wands reversed. It has to be slow. This can't be a fast. Like it is. I mean, it's not as slow as like a Pentacles, but you know, you've got to take your time with it. The Hierophant reversed. Wow. Oh my God, the Emperor reversed. Now. Yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know, maybe you feel, right, and it could be, take what resonates, discard the rest, but it could be that you are attributing this energy. It could be to do with like a negative, it could be masking itself as this negative kind of energy or memory from like male energy that has not been very good within your life. Because, you know, it all comes from the relationship that we have with our caregivers, and then the opening that creates. If we have, you know, soul parts that are lost, which contributes to soul retrieval, which is something that I will go into in a episode on my channel at a later point. But basically, within trauma, if you explore it in a psychological sense, in a Western psychological concept sense, it is the soul splits. The soul, like, you know, you end up like disassociating, you know, some kind of like way of being able to like make sure that you don't experience the pain so intensely. It's a way that your brain and your being protects itself. Sometimes some people can see themselves looking from a bird's eye view in terms of them being like traumatized in some kind of way. So what's happening here is that there's an association here. There's a trauma bond here that's happening. And what it looks like is that you may be confusing the spirit guide with a trauma bond, because often that can happen. You know, we can place and this is why I'm so meticulous with the shamanic work, because you have to be really clear about who your guides are. You have to be really clear, because just like Joe Blogs on the street, they can say, I'm like a spiritual guide for you, or like I can do this for you. And then if you get like caught up in the romanticism of it, it's very easy for them to fleece you. And their currency is energy and not money, as they would do like if there was some con man on the street. So there has to be some kind of like energy exchange here. And if this trauma here involved some kind of father figure, for example, like maybe it was a narcissistic dynamic or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a father, but I have got a lot of male energy here with both the Hierophant, the Emperor, even the Seven of Swords, because that's Aquarian energy. We've got like the Devil here. So yeah, there's something here that's masking itself. And to be fair, like, it's not even doing it, like, you can tell the difference. I think if you were to really ask, is this energy benevolent for me? You'd be able to tell, right? I think you would. Because it's the Seven of Swords. It's not like the Magician reversed or anything like that underneath. But this is a residual kind of trauma bonding that's happening with you, and this, like, you not being able to connect deeper with your lower world human guide. This is the message it's given me. Don't come for me, all right? So I would say, like, just do some more work in terms of, like, meditation. If you want to go deeper, then do the shamanic journeying, which I think will be really good for you. It's going to involve something unconventional. You're going to have to do something unconventional. It's interesting that there's a key here and you've come to gold key guidance. Not going to lie. Every time I see a key, I just think, oh, that's interesting. But also there's a key to you understanding what it is that can unlock the pathway to this lower world human guide that will really help you to be able to control your emotions. Maybe it is that this trauma bonding causes you to really not control your emotions, to you know, kind of lash out or whatever it is. And then that's the kind of like the negative side, or it's the negative side, because you have negative and positive. It doesn't mean good or bad. We're talking about negative and positive. There's things that have positive effects, things that have negative effects. So what I'm talking about is, you know, ideally it would be the most positive effects that you would want, right? So you're looking at something that would be, you know, you'd want you to be in control of your emotions, for you to recognize your emotions, and then to see what your emotions are, and then to be able to act upon them accordingly. That is what this Lord of the Sea is urging you to do. But then it seems to be getting mixed up with something else. So that's what I'm seeing here. Now, when you do this, right, when you start to listen to stuff and you are persistent, because, okay, I'll give you an example. With meditation, with particularly insight meditation, which is the form of meditation that the Buddha taught, because which is the only one that you can do that makes you enlightened. And I'm not being biased there; it's actually true. And like, basically, but being enlightened isn't everyone's goal. So that's just what I'm saying. But if you want to be able to advance on the path, and you being able to like kind of be persistent. This is what this card is saying. Being persistent in your actions to not be controlled by your emotions will pay off, but it involves you learning a new way of being for you to unlock the key to you understanding and managing your emotions and connecting with this Lord of the Sea, because that's where this spirit guide resides and wants you to access him or it. Don't know what sex it is. So, and when you do that, it may take some time. But, you know, it's just kind of, you just got to like keep on going for it. And that's the same thing with meditation. Like, you've just got to keep on trying. You've got to be persistent. And the persistence will pay off. But, you know, you've had so many years of you behaving in a certain way automatically, that you have to just recognize that, you know, you just have to be patient and you have to be persistent with yourself. So that's what that's saying. Now, the Devil here with the Lovers reverse means that previously the choice was not made to follow that. The choice was made, well, there was a choice not to kind of like be like this emperor figure. It could also be like a boss as well, not just a father figure. But I'm just thinking that because it's more powerful. And also, like, if you were to connect like that with a work figure, it most likely comes from a parental figure. But anyway, like, if you've got the emperor here, if you've got like a boss or anybody like that, it could be the fact that you chose not to be like that. That's what I'm seeing. You chose not to kind of like be like that in order to kind of capitalize upon other like gains. You made the choice that you weren't going to make that partnership with the Devil. So there is like your lower world human guide knows that it can contact you, but it's wanting you to really look at this other way of doing that so that it can contact you. And then you've got the Knight of Wands clarified by the Mother of Pentacles. Now, your cautiousness may be exacerbated by, or may be influenced by the you wanting a sense of emotion, of real material security, and really understanding what that is. That material security doesn't just rely on material things. It also relies on, persistence and being meticulous and being kind of rigid in your goals, or like rigid in your practice in terms of like certain things that you do. So making sure that you put aside a bit of money every month, making sure you're like looking at your paying your bills on time. You're not making sure that you're not indulging in things that could jeopardize like your money or anything like that, for example. So you're being meticulous about that, and that's why there's this kind of cautiousness here with the King of Wands. You are fighting something, I'm not going to lie. There is something here that you are fighting against to make sure that you don't do that. But then there is this kind of like, you have to be honest and really be able to discern between the two. Your spirit guide, your lower world human guide is calling to you. They're calling to you, and they're still being persistent in what they're doing. So, and how they're going to communicate with you. So you need to, there's something about you being able to be receiving the signs. So anyway, let's find out more with your oracle cards, because this is quite interesting. Okay, so we've got integration 33, another number, master number. But integration is really interesting, because that's the whole thing of you being able to integrate these practices. And it's interesting how we've got the moon sinking into the sea, or it could be rising, and then you've also got snakes as well. So there's something about your intuition, and we've also got willow here. So there's something about your intuition really talking to you. The intuition is connected to the sea. So there is something that your emotions will guide you. And I don't know if you trust your emotions, Pile 2. So I think that might be something to think about. Okay. And then we have these, which is some crystal from the crystal people. So we have water. I mean, you can't really make this up, can you? So we've got like a lot of water here. And we've got Larimar as well, self-expression. I think there's something about you being able to express yourself in a way. And that is when your lower world human... And look at this. You really can't make it up, man. Look at that. So there's something about your emotions that will speak when you understand how to speak your truth. And I don't know, I feel like you're stopping it. I feel like you may be a little bit confused as to what, like, how do you connect with this spirit guide? How do you connect with this human lower world guide? And it's about listening to your emotions. Listening to your emotions does not mean you acting upon them, okay? Pile 2, you've got cannabis here. Interesting. So we have Saturn and Neptune, and then we have this detachment. Wow. Okay, I will just read that for you, my loves. Number 31, so that's number 4, the number of the Emperor. So we've got, it's detachment, deep contemplation, freedom from pain body, inner calm, immunity. The reversed is numb, dissociation, neglect, chronic pain, not seeing a way out, trapped and unsettled. So, wow. Oh, right, okay. So the usage of the herb is over 8,000 years old. Wow. Okay, that's really interesting. But what's really important about this is that there is an ability to be able to dissociate and to disengage in a healthy way, and that's called detachment. Detachment usually comes from meditation. You can do it in other ways as well. But meditation is like a really good way of training your mind without using anything else. But the kind of like medicine of cannabis is that whole kind of detachment. I mean, to me, right, the reason why people smoke weed is to escape. They smoke it because they want to get away, because it is kind of it's a suppressant. And this is, yeah, like it's a suppressant, and it just kind of like, it kind of causes you to like go to another place automatically. So I think, just taking the kind of idea and the medicine from that, you don't have to like, you know, do that. You could also work with CBD oil. That might be really useful for you. But yeah, just thinking about that sense of detachment would be really useful for you in order to connect with this lower world human guide. Okay, so then the next card we have is this card, the Beloved. Wow, it is reversed, so I'm going to take it reversed. Number 5, that is the Hierophant as well, which is really interesting. So let's have a look at that. What I'm seeing in there is like a real sense of you being able to connect to some sort of love about yourself, because I don't know if you do. Yeah, the medicine is here. Be careful with romantic love, the kind of love you fall in and out of. Own all the projections you placed upon the person you are dreaming of. Remember, they are only mirroring back your own deep longings rather than their true selves. If you fail to notice this, be prepared to walk through the fire of strong emotions once again. Okay, that's why it turned up reversed. Because it comes back to this trauma bonding. So I don't know, pile 2. This could not resonate. But, you know, just look at who is in your life. You know? Just look at that. And are those relationships something that brings you real joy and that you feel safe in? Because that's what this lower world human guide wants to bring you. And it can't gain access while you're in those other types of relationships because it's just suffocated. Okay, wow. So we have Hen, the maternal approach. Interesting. Being really protective, clucky. That's the word that came to mind. Clucky. Like, you know, just wanting to take care of things will help you to nurture the relationship with your lower world human guide. Your lower world human guide may be female. I didn't get such a clear kind of thing, but I don't know. I think it might be female because of the water. Or if it is male, then it could be with a really strong maternal kind of flavor to it. Very King of Cups energy. And hens are very, very loyal, passionate creatures. So there's something there. Sorry, I forgot to mention. This card is to bring it back to Gian's reading. Because Gian will be talking about your power animal. Now, the power animal is an animal that helps us through our journey. And, you know, it's probably one that you primarily work with. To begin with, when you start working with the shamanic realms. This is a card that you might have that. I mean, we do also have hippos here. We have snakes. We have geese. We have deer. We have moose. We have scorpions. And we have snakes. Yeah, so we have snakes twice. Hippos, yeah. So and also hens. So those could be animals that help you. Now, you know, every animal has beautiful medicine attached to it. So do pay attention to that, okay? So some of those animals may be something to do with your power animal. And your last card to close out the reading, pile 2, is this card, which is really interesting that we have something middle world here. And it's called the Quiet House. A leaf breaks from its branch above and falls down gently before your path. Sometimes it's not what we need for ourselves, but how we can tend lovingly to another's home and hearth. Meditate on the 3 of Cups tarot card and offer a hand to a friend in need. So what I'm getting from that, pile 2, is this maternal approach, that when you show a maternal attitude towards others, you also reflect it inwards towards yourself. So, or which often is the case, you may be very maternal to other people, but you may not be maternal to yourself, and you may not be like integrating that loving kindness and love and kind of earthly, that watery emotion where you're being kind and compassionate, practicing radical compassion to yourself. And that will be something that will allow these waters, allow these lower world guides to rise in order to come and meet you and give you all the support that you need. Pile 2. What a reading. These readings are epic. I love it. I hope you love it too. Please do go and watch Gian's reading. It's going to be so helpful for you. These readings are like a kind of, you know, they're meant to be working together. So do check them out. Next week, we will be releasing the Upper World, so do check that one out. Subscribe if you do wish to. If you did enjoy the reading, do press the thumbs up if you liked it, because then that helps the algorithm to kind of like push these to people who really need to hear these messages. Also, hit the bell icon as well, because sometimes, you know, you don't get the messages, you don't get the fact that we've released another video, so please do that. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, whenever you're choosing to watch this reading. And remember that honesty is always key. Bye. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose this beautiful pinecone flower, which was a flower that I found about, God, years ago. And it's just remained on my altar for a long time. And it's just so beautiful. I just love the kind of the imagery from it, and the way it is, like a real rose, that's just kind of like been kept preserved in time. The pineal gland is often connected with the pine cone. And yeah, it's a connection to other states of consciousness, other realms of consciousness. So this is a reading about, I'm doing this a bit backwards, so excuse me, about the lower world, your lower world human guides. Now, in the lower world, you have various guides. They usually take place in the form of like animal, plants, trees, could be like rocks, crystals, and also animals and humans. So you've got all of those different types of guides that appear to you in the lower world, usually. And in this reading, I'm covering the lower world. I'm covering the human aspect of the lower world, which isn't usually something that is as or maybe not as widely discussed, but it is very, very common. It's something that happens all the time. Most people that I know, they connect with their lower world human guides first, or they connect with their power animal, then they connect with their lower world human guide, like as part of their core team kind of thing. So it's part of their first lot that their entourage that they receive as they get down to the lower world and start to explore within the shamanic journeying perspective. So what we've got here, this pine cone. Now, usually if I was to think about the elements that this reminded me of, which was enlightenment, traversing up to a higher plane of consciousness, you know, that's what the pine cone really represents. I would really, you know, think about the upper world. But because we're talking about the lower world, and there was some reason why I chose this. I chose it because it came from the earth. And that's why I wanted to choose 3 things that came from planet Earth. And obviously, like all the crystals anyway come from Earth, but like 2 of these I got myself. You know, I picked them from nature myself. So there's something about taking something as a seed, which this essentially is, because you can see that this is like, you know, it's a pine cone essentially, so it's a seed. This is something to be planted. So I think there's something for you to find out, to understand, to recognize before you go on to do like maybe your higher planes of conscious work or consciousness work. So there's something that your lower world guide wants to give you, I think. Okay. Now, here is your card, and we've got the Vision Singer. Okay, I will say 2 things. Now, I started your reading just now, but then the blurb for the book was just so hefty and difficult to like read through. I had to like read through and then just start again. And another thing is that this is a middle world item. So this was made in the middle world. It wasn't made in the lower world. But because this is connected with a shamanic element and comes from the lower world principles, I'll go ahead and use it. And I was using this deck anyway for you to select with. So the Vision Singer is the first step on this on this quest in terms of finding knowledge. It's interesting how we have the number 2 here, a little bit high priestessy, but actually I'm feeling it's more magician-y stroke fool in the tarot, meaning that we are at the very beginning of the journey. So we're starting to see what it is that we want to like go towards. The visions are dancing, our movement that move us towards the goals or the kind of start on the path that we're about to take. The vision singer also symbolizes the first step into a place where someone will receive some transformation. So it feels that you are entering a space where you are receiving a seed or receiving some kind of tutoring or something from this lower world human guide that will teach you into how to become more deeply spiritual and connected with your work that you do on that spiritual side. I hope that makes sense. So, with that being said, I am drawn to start with the tarot, so let's go in. All decks are listed below if you are interested. Look at that, that was the first card that came out. Just jumped out, that was beautiful. And this is the Goliath deck. This is called the the Celtic Shaman's pack. And this is the Goliath Tarot deck. While I'm shuffling the cards, I invite you to take a deep breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Great. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say about this reading for you, pile. Wow, nice. The Wheel of Fortune. I think that came up for another deck, if not pile 2. Okay, what does pile 3's lower world human guide want to say to my wonderful pile 3's? Why am I tempted to say pile 4? That's really interesting. Okay, so we have the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, we have the Hidden Strength, the Shadow Cat reversed. We have the Four of Pentacles, which is it says the Prudent Mountain Goat there. That's the Four of Pentacles, but it's reversed. Wow, okay. Oh, wow, the World. God, the Wheel of Fortune in the World. That is amazing. And then we have the Empress, pile 3. Wow, that's insane. Okay, so you got like 4. Well, this is an extra card, but I would, you know, it is a major arcana, I would say. Okay. So you have been given a very specific opportunity to go forward with your spiritual work. I do think this is something spiritual. You may not think that it's spiritual initially, but I honestly don't think that you would be here at my reading if you didn't have some kind of like deep spiritual kind of practice, or that you did stuff that was deeply spiritual. We've got the Wheel of Fortune here, which means that there's been like a really good opportunity for you to do it, and it's been something that, you know, you've really wanted to see what it is about yourself that you could make stronger about yourself. Now, I do see that there is a sense of vulnerability here. So you may have been in a place where you felt that you were strong and that you had sufficient knowledge, that you understood like what you were doing. But then what's happened, sorry about the shake there, I'm just moving the mic away from me because it was quite loud last time. What's happened is that you've actually like allowed yourself to go into like a small space of vulnerability. You've actually maybe like not made yourself so powerful so that you'll be able to receive the gifts. The Four of Pentacles, and it's really interesting because this particular Four of Pentacles is a little mountain goat on the top of a mountain. So it's me, and a really interesting saying I heard the other day is that once you reach the top of a mountain, it's just the bottom of another. So, you know, it's just really interesting that you have made it so that you kind of keep going, you do what you've got to do, you you're like, right, I'm taking this opportunity. It could be a course, right? It could be that you've decided that you want to go on some kind of course to expand your spirituality, or expand your like maybe you want to learn how to do mediumship or something like that, and you decide to go on a course. There's some very good courses that I highly recommend, that I'm very lucky to be in this country to do. And yeah, like if you decide to go for those kind of courses, you might want to expand your knowledge in those kind of fields. Also, like if you want to maybe start making things, maybe you're learning herbology, and you want to start learning about plants and about the properties of plants, things like that. And what's really interesting is that whatever it is that you've done, it feels like it's come to an end, and now you're ready to birth something that may be described as like possibly a kind of like new business, or maybe even like a new venture. Maybe you're retraining to do something, and you've decided that this is what I want to do now. It's really interesting, because even though this is like signifying to me that this is at the beginning with the pinecone rose, and this says to me that you've been through it, and now you're at another beginning. So it's almost like that whole thing of like driving a car. Like you drive a car, you learn how to drive a car, but then the real driving doesn't begin until you start driving the car on the road. Same thing as when you start doing it in real life, when you start doing it in action, in practice, then that's actually when the true skill starts to evolve and develop, and that's when you start to become good at what you do. So I feel like that's what's happening. Now, I will say that this Empress just always gets me a bit, because it's a peacock, and peacocks are male, right? They're not usually female. So what I feel is something a little bit unconventional here. Like I feel like maybe people didn't expect that you were going to be doing something like this. It could be as simple. Bear me 1 second. Apologies, my loves, I've heard some weird noise outside. So what I'm thinking is that even though this is like essentially a male figure, and I often see the peacock represented as the Empress, and here it says alchemical mother. So it's absolutely in reference to a female. But what I would say is that I think it's important to think that maybe people didn't think that this was conventional for you. And also, like, I mean, I know you don't need to you don't need to people please anybody, of course you don't, but just be aware of how that might affect you, and how, you know, also how that works in your marketing, you know, how it works in your ability to make yourself really different and stand out from being out there. Okay, so let's have a look with some more cards. Your lower world human guides. What do your lower world human guides want to say? Right, so in the lower world, right, some crazy stuff happens. Some crazy stuff happens. You may have like some kind of, I don't know, there just may be some crazy shit that goes down. So this with a male figure giving birth to a female, that might be a thing. Just saying. It might be a thing. So, you know, and this is not to do about gender or anything like that. This is to do with like the actual like action, you know. So that's something to think about. But a lot of this is quite external. It's almost like a calling. Pile 3. It's like somebody's called you to this. And I'm feeling very contemplative. I don't know if it's because like I was slightly sick yesterday and I wasn't able to finish the reading, but yeah, Okay, so we've got the 5 of Swords, the 10 of Swords, the 4 of Wands, the World reversed, clarifying the world upright. I mean, you can't make it up, can you? And then last card. The Daughter of Pentacles. That's the Page of Pentacles. Interesting. Yeah, I think this is to do with you maybe finding another career, pile 3. You might even like be changing careers. You may think that you're doing something different. I think that you've been called to to help people who haven't been able to find help. And your lower world human guides are doing everything they can to help you to bring that into to bring that into manifestation in a way that you can feel that that's tangible. Because even if like you are with your lower world human guides, your lower world power animals, they can only show you so much, you know. But then sometimes you do have to look at it in a there does need to be some kind of human interaction. I'll give you an example. So in my journey world, I have my human tribe. I have like a tribe. I don't know where this tribe come from. All I know is that they're an indigenous tribe. They're usually dressed in like animal skins, and they have a village, and they do stuff within their village. They look like South American, I think. They're not quite African. They're South American more than anything. And there was one time where I needed to ask for help, for support. And one time I had a whole tribe of females, like the whole kind of female from the tribe, come around me and just hold me and hug me to show me that I was loved by all women of the tribe. And it was just one of the most beautiful journeys like ever, which is why I'm remembering it to tell you. But like that idea of all of those women and children that came to me and hugged me and held me for that time while I just wept for ages, or for the journey time at least, it was incredible. But they gave me a specific message that was very different to if my power animals came around me and held me like that. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm kind of saying by this, like, your lower world human guides are putting it across to you like this kind of like step into being enlightened and step into being more, reaching a higher plane of consciousness, reaching a higher state of awareness within your spirituality. That's what they're helping you with, because they're helping you to understand things that have not made you happy, things where you have had to walk away and accept defeat, things where you've had to deal with the drama and the bullshit of other people, where you've had to, not be happy, and where this has been a continuous cycle, and now you're making a concerted plan to make sure that this doesn't happen again to you. I think that's what probably is the impetus between this. It may not be conscious, but it feels like it, particularly with this hidden inner strength. I don't know, maybe you thought, right, I've been through all this stuff, and now I need to reassess myself and make myself vulnerable and go into a space where I can like really help myself. And that's why the Wheel of Fortune was there, because it was like a golden opportunity for you to do that. And with this and this, like both the hidden inner self and the Four of Pentacles reversed, that's a complete release. That's vulnerability. And it's interesting, we've got 2 fours here. 4 of Wands, 4 of Pentacles. So 4 of Wands, a kind of loss of happiness, I would say. And then the 4 of Pentacles, okay, I let it go. I let it go. Not that I let go the unhappiness, but I let go the fact that I was so attached to the fact that I needed to be so happy, which is its own battle in itself, right? So powerful. That's why I'm like kind of like, It's quite heavy. I mean, all the readings are heavy, aren't they? It's never light. I'm never given the light load. But anyway, I just think that it's just really interesting with that. It's deeply beautiful. Deeply. Some actually like phenomenal work, you know? Okay. Wow. It's all good. It's all good. Number 18. That is the moon. But yeah, it's all good. Well, I mean, you know, the moon for me is a good card. I've always liked the moon. The moon says to me that you have got, like, yeah, it is the moon. But the moon is the moon. When the moon is reversed, that's when I get a little bit funny. But when it's the moon upright, it's like, yeah, I know. This is just the nature of the moon. It just is what it is. This, right, sounds to me like another dark night of the soul. And I hear some of you going, oh my God, Reena. And like there was something that Molly McCord, this amazing astrologer, said that if you know, I bet some of you have had your like, I've been to the dark night of the soul. Like I've had my stamp card pumped like 9 times. This is that. But I mean, you know that every time that you go through it, something else happens. You get stronger. Other things come up. You start to understand yourself better. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, wow. Oh my God. Medicine drum, sacred healing, malachite. I'll just get some malachite for you right now. Sorry if you hear some plastic rustling. But here is some malachite for you. This is raw malachite. It's so pretty. There are prettier pieces, but this one is really cool. I'll pop that there for you so that it can be your friend during the reading. Yeah, so we've got some malachite. And the sacred drum. For those of you that are interested in going deeper with this work and deeper with this journey, check out my other channel on shamanism, where I do take you down to the lower world and give you an introduction there. I will be going more in depth into the different areas of the lower world, which will be really interesting. These are like ideas for future courses. I'll have to see, but well, if you find this sort of stuff interesting, leave me a comment and also do the course as well, which I will link in the description box below, and see how it goes. Because what you could also do with this series is that when you do this, you could also do the corresponding journeys to those worlds. So for example, you could do a journey to the lower world, both for this reading and also for like Gian's reading. And then you could also do one for the upper world and the middle world. So it would be really good. Okay, right. So middle world, I'll be a little bit cautious about, but I'll talk about that at a later time. And then we have Motherwort. Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. Look at that card. Okay. Now, I don't know, you've got Venus there and number 13, interesting, which is death. But let's have a look at what she says. Motherwort is strength. That's why we have the lion there. And the astrological ruler of Venus. Bear me 1 second, my loves. Sorry about that, my loves. So this is about being lion-hearted. But we've also got okay, so Motherwort was used to spell guard pregnant women and children from envy and evil air, often planted around the home and hung in doorways. It was said to keep unwanted guests, both physical and supernatural, either smoked and burned for smoke cleansing, as it would drive bad spirits out of the house. It would be also used for heart protection and to countermanage or reverse a curse. Japanese folklore tells of a town where the main water source was fed by rainwater trickling through hills of motherwort. The inhabitants of the village drink daily from the stream and are bestowed with extraordinary long life, up to 130 years old. So, okay. So what I get from this pile 3 is that, coming back to this beautiful image here of this Empress, it's kind of giving me the idea of really nurturing yourself and nurturing the ideas and the kind of like period within you, the gestation, the ability to give birth, the ability to create, to do these things. That's all there. That's all very important for you to pay attention to right now. Okay, and then this card, which I will need to do this book here, and we have got lightning. Wow. Okay. I think there's also a part of you that needs to respect the sense of fertility that is within you. Sometimes we don't really recognize that within us. We don't want to. We want to just kind of just deal with things that we can see that are not very, I don't know, maybe it's the feminine aspect that we kind of fight against. I'm not sure. But that might even be connected with the fact that we've got this kind of like, you know, different Empress here. Like how this fertility takes place is quite prevalent for you. And it may be something that even you might need getting used to. Like you might need to take getting used to. Okay, so we have lightning. And it says the formidable electrical discharge of a lightning bolt brightens the sky and strikes the earth, accompanied by the sound of thunder. So, I mean, I don't really need to look at the book for this, really. I'm just looking at it. It's a time to be courageous and daring. It is tower energy, tower moment, however you want to put it. These, sorry about that. These instincts will like kind of, they will come to you in bolts of blue and this green. They will come to you in bolts that you might not be ready to experience. There is no tower energy here, so I'm not seeing that, but we do have tower energy here. So what that says to me is that it will come to you in ways that you don't expect, but not in like a completely destructive way. These might be like complete flashes of insight that happen while you're along the way. My mind was blown consistently while I was doing my shamanic training. So, you know, it's that, and it still does to this day. It doesn't change. So, yeah. And I do also think, because I've been distracted twice from your reading, so I've ended up like leaving twice for your reading. I've also like, my phone dropped down on the floor and made loads of noise. All the books dropped down. So I think that there's going to be a lot of distractions. I'm not going to lie, pile 3. So just be aware of that. So your lower world human guides are with you during this time. They're encouraging you to invoke and be aware of some kind of human interaction that will help you to recognize how these elements of your spirituality will work better within your life, okay? How they will be integrated into your life, actually, more accurately. So, yeah. Okay, let's have a little look at this card, which is going to be our connection to Gian's reading. So Gian will be looking at your power animals, and here this is like just one card that I pulled, which is like from the power animals deck, which will help you to basically connect deeper to the elements of your power animal. It might be your power animal. We've got several animals here. We've got worms, we've got bulls, we've got cats, we've got goats, we've got fish, and we've got deer, and we've got peacocks. So you've got quite an array here already, but it's something to just directly connect you to Gian's reading. Wow. butterfly, transition into the soul. We said that before with this beautiful pine cone, that this is what you're going to be transitioning into. There is something that you are going to be transitioning into. So just, this is something that's happening. You may have been preparing a long time for this. You may have been preparing a while to do this work. So yeah. And then your last card, which I'm going to see pull out, which is this, which is really interesting. It's called the Bridge Between Worlds. And again, we do have like a middle world concept, but I mean, a bridge doesn't necessarily have to be a middle world thing. It's just that this particular one is a middle world looking bridge, but it doesn't have to be like that. So the bridge between worlds, the sign of the universe becomes apparent once you've recognized the universe inside yourself. We are the bridge between life and beyond. We're a Celtic tree of life, charm for protection, good luck, legacy, wisdom, and peace. That's that. But essentially just recognizing the bridge. Where did we see it? Where was it? Okay, well, I mean, we have High Priestess. I thought we had, yeah, okay, 7. That's the Chariot. 25, 18, the Moon. Okay, it's a different deck that I've seen that's actually got that. And I was maybe thinking of another thing. But there's this idea of you creating this bridge for yourself, being able to become the bridge that goes between the worlds. The shaman is the bridge between the worlds. And if some of you are thinking about venturing on the shamanic path, good luck. I mean, it's an amazing path. It's tough, but it's amazing. And that is essentially like what the shamanic work is. You are working between the lower world, middle world, upper world, other realms. The idea and the definition of the shaman is the one who traverses between the realms, traverses between the worlds, and is able to glean information from those realms and bring them back. So, and usually that comes with, usually you've been through something that's actually put you towards that space that helps you to think that or helps you to realize that you want to help people. So yeah, that's what I'm getting from this pile. Your lower world human guides are with you all the way. I don't know, it feels like a calling, to be honest with you. It feels like, you're being called to this path. But I hope you enjoyed that reading. Please do go and see Gian's reading. And if you've come from Gian's reading, thank you so much for being with me. I hope you've enjoyed the reading. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you do that, it will help the algorithm to find it. So please do that. Do come and check out all of the other readings that we've got. Set your notification bell, because me and Gian are doing like another 2 readings after this. The upper world next week, and then the week after we'll be doing the lower world. If you want to go deeper into, the middle world, if you want to go deeper into any of those realms, I also do a shamanic course, which is completely free. It's on my other shamanism channel, and it gives you the basics in terms of learning how to journey to these realms. And I also provide a track for you as well. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, whenever you're choosing to watch this. And remember, my darlings, honesty is always key. Bye.